Freezer meals have become my friend. The way I survive our homeschool weeks is to have meals stashed in our freezer that I can easily pull out and heat up for different meals throughout our homeschool days. Today we are going to be tackling breakfast items. I am sure you have heard of Jamerrill Stewart. I bought her big batch freezer meal guide. So my freezer meal series continues, and today we are going to be tackling breakfast items. In case you're new around here, hi, my name is Sarah. I am the homeschooling mama to 5 kiddos. They range in age from preschool all the way up to high school, and so our days are very full and very busy. And I have a lot of hungry people in this house to feed, and so freezer meals have become my friend, especially the last couple of years. It is honestly the way I survive our homeschool weeks, is to have meals, snacks stashed in our freezer that I can easily pull out and heat up for different meals throughout our homeschool days. Now, if you have been following Homeschool Mamas here on YouTube for any length of time, I am sure you have heard of Jamerrill Stewart. I'm such a fan of hers. I've been watching her channel for years and years and years, and all of her mega mama cooking adventures. Well, I had a little bit of Christmas money, and so I finally decided to take advantage of her sale, and I bought her big batch freezer meal guides. And so this is what I'm going to be using today to do all of the breakfast items I want to stash in the freezer. This is Big Batch Freezer Meals Breakfast Guide number 3. We are going to be tackling a whole bunch of recipes, and in Jamerrill fashion, I'm going to write some of these up on my whiteboard just so that I have the visual and it honors her tradition. So we are going to be making about 30 or 40 breakfast bagels, 8 batches of fruit bread, 4 batches of baked oatmeal, 4 batches of blueberry pancakes, 2 meals worth of sausage gravy and freezer biscuits, egg protein cups, 4 large batches of French toast, and I'm hoping to get to about 5 dozen oatmeal chocolate chip muffins. That's gonna be a heck of a lot of food for my family. Now, yesterday I did do some prep work. I ran out to the supermarket with my kiddos and we grabbed some supplies, but honestly, I had a lot of the ingredients for this guide already on hand. I think my total at Aldi was just over $100, and that included, I think I bought 10 or 12 dozen pasture eggs, and these are, I think, $4.99 a dozen, so that was a big chunk of the budget was going towards eggs. It's just something we've been spoiled. My brother and sister-in-law have chickens, and so we are used to eating really good eggs, and I can't go back. So we always buy the pasture-raised eggs now. Yesterday, not only did I gather all of my ingredients here at home and at the supermarket, but I also did a bread baking day. This is not in Jamerrill's guide, but something I decided to do was to make the breads I was going to be using from scratch. Again, we have just really gotten to the habit and into the routine of making our own breads here in our home, and so we don't tend to buy a lot of store-bought breads. So I baked 4 loaves of my sandwich honey wheat bread. This is all going to be used for French toast. I also went ahead and made, gosh, I think it was 40 sourdough discard bagels. Those are from Lisa over at Farmhouse on Boone. Those are her recipe. I love that recipe. So I made a bunch of bagels, and then I also made about 36, maybe 40 freezer biscuits to go along with the sausage gravy. I will link all of the recipes that I can down below, as well as a link to Jamerrill's Guide 3. All right, now talking about starting out, it is just now about 1 o'clock, so starting a little bit later than I wanted to, but I had a church meeting this morning, so we're just gonna go with it. We're gonna start at 1 o'clock. And I am actually going to do the recipes that I can out at our Blackstone grill. It is in the forecast to rain a little bit later this afternoon, so I want to run out to the grill before the rain hits. And praise the Lord, we are having a 50-degree day here in Ohio, which is crazy for January. I am going to go ahead and do the French toast out on the grill, as well as the blueberry pancake. All right, enough chit-chatting, let's get cooking. All right, so as you can see here, I got a little bit overzealous with my bowl. I'm probably going to need to purchase a bigger stainless steel bowl at some point in the future. So I went ahead and split the batter between both bowls as I was adding blueberries, and then I went ahead and used my leftover French toast mix that I had left and poured that into my pancake batter as well. It made it a little bit thin, but it worked out just fine. So here I am out at the grill, just getting these pancakes onto the Blackstone. And this was just such an enjoyable process. It was a beautiful day, a little bit cold. Justin was so kind and went ahead and brought me out a cup of coffee. So I just stood in the cold with my coffee and flipped pancakes and snacked on them as I made them. It was really a lot of fun, even though it was a lot of work. So I head back inside and go ahead and get started on my fruit breads. These take a good hour in the oven, so I want to go ahead and get a jump on those. As you can see here, I have a teenager in the background coming and asking me some questions about homeschool. He's working on an IEW paper over the weekend. Yes, my teens, they do some homeschool over the weekends sometimes, especially Noah, who is still trying to balance having a part-time job along with his homeschool schedule. He does utilize his weekends to catch up on work. All right, so as you can see here, I am just measuring out ingredients for this applesauce bread. I love Jamerrill's recipes because they're very flexible. As you can see here, I am just eyeballing some cinnamon I'm adding in that was not maybe on the recipe. I also substituted avocado oil. Her recipe said olive oil for some reason. I'm wondering if that was a typo. I really like using avocado in fruit breads. Now, this recipe is huge. It makes 4 9x13 pans, and my plan for this is to cut each of these in half to make them more like a normal fruit bread size. And so that will leave me with 8 quote-unquote loaves of applesauce bread. And I will pair this with sausage links, maybe some scrambled eggs for breakfast one morning. That is something that I can have one of my teens, or even Mariah, my 10-year-old, loves to make scrambled eggs in the morning. And so that's something I can shell out to them. And it just, again, this makes a quick, easy breakfast starter. All right, now that I have all of the bread in the oven, I'm going to go ahead and move on to sausage gravy. This was yet another audible I threw in my day, and instead of using Jamerrill's recipe, I used my own recipe. Oh, momentary pause here to honor my Star meat chopper here. I love this thing. I use it anytime I brown any sort of ground meat. Got it from the Dollar Tree. Just absolutely love this tool in my kitchen. Anyways, back to my recipe. I am using my own recipe from my website. This has been the same sausage gravy recipe I've made for my kids for, gosh, almost 20 years at this point. And so I can't stray, even though I'm sure Jamerrill's is great. The blueberry pancakes and the French toast are done, but I have them sitting over on my kitchen table. I need to bag everything up. Definitely starting to get a little bit tired. So I'm going to sit, bag up all of that, have a really large glass of water, and then I think I'm going to move on to the bagel sandwiches because it's one of the items on the list that is making me feel quite overwhelmed, and it'll feel good to just have that checked off and done. I do believe that the French toast and the pancakes were probably 2 of the more time-consuming items, at least for me, physically having to stand there and flip them. So hopefully from here on out, it'll be just a little bit easier, just kind of navigating, switching up oven times and things like that. All right, so while the eggs are cooking, I am working on slicing all of my bagels because I made them myself. They're not sliced, so that's taking an extra few minutes. The other thing I am doing is I am prepping to go ahead and toast them in the oven for just a couple of minutes before I assemble the sandwiches. And the other little trick I like to do for breakfast sandwiches is to toast them and put some melted butter mixed with some Dijon mustard and salt and pepper on there. It just, I don't know, it gives your breakfast sandwich just a little zing, a little bit of something extra that you wouldn't taste in a normal breakfast bagel or biscuit or any bread would do. So this is just a little trick I like to do. Hey guys, so it is a brand new day. I ran out of steam last night and it was getting late, so we had bagels for dinner, breakfast sandwich bagels for dinner, and then I hung out with my hubby and my kids because that's what freezer cooking is supposed to be, right? It is supposed to be a help to help me on days so I can spend more time with my family. Speaking of, here comes Chef Ezra. He is going to be my assistant today, aren't you, buddy?
We're gonna make
What are we gonna make?
muffins.
Muffins! We're gonna start out today making some muffins, but let's head over to the board, look at the progress we've made on the list, and then see what we have left to do for today. You ready?
Ready?
Say, let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go. All right, so yesterday we did 30 bagel sandwiches. I actually made a few more than that, but again, we had those for dinner. So 30. I made 4 9x13 pans of the apple fruit breads, and so that ends up being 8 servings of fruit bread. I cut them in half and wrapped them in saran wrap last night. So 8 loaves of apple fruit bread. Let's see, I ended up with 5-gallon bags full of blueberry pancakes, 3-gallon bags of sausage gravy. Now, those gallon bags were not completely full, but I measured it and made sure it would be enough cups or servings to feed our family. So ended up with 3 breakfasts worth of that. And then 4-gallon size bags full of French toast, which makes sense because I did 4 loaves of bread.
Okay.
So left for us to finish up today is the apple baked oatmeals, the egg protein cups, as well as muffins, which Ezra and I are going to tackle this morning. Okay, Chef Ezra, you ready? I'm not sure what happened. I don't know if I did something wrong, I'm not sure what it is. I'm gonna go through the recipe again and double check it. But these definitely don't feel like muffins. They're still pretty warm out of the oven. They feel like little oatmeal cups. They are delicious. I will say that. Ezra and I have tried some, and it is just this like warm oatmeal, apple, chocolate bite, but definitely not what I would think of as a muffin. So we're gonna go with plan B. We're gonna take the rest of the oat mix that I have for this and put this together with some pumpkin bread mixes that I bought at Costco in the fall. I'd stocked up on. And so we're gonna turn this into more traditional muffins, but pumpkin oatmeal chocolate chip muffins. And so we're just gonna pivot and try that out because this might be a great fit for some families, but just for my family and textures and things, I don't think that this is gonna go over real well. But we'll eat these dozen for the fun of it this morning. So as I am rotating muffins in and out of the oven, I'm going ahead and getting a jump on the baked oatmeal, the Harvest Apple oatmeal, putting it in aluminum pans to put in the oven next once the muffins are done. Now, as a self-respecting homeschool mama, I am using this opportunity to use the apples as a quick math lesson with Ezra. If I have 6 apples and I take one away, how many do I have left? He loved it, so this was a fun little activity we did. By the way, I'm adding extra apple to this recipe. My kids like a lot of fruit and things, and so I think the recipe only called for 2 apples, and I'm using, probably about 5 or so. Ezra probably ate an entire one while we were working on it here. Now you're about to see here, once again, I am pushing the limits on how much I can fit in my bowls. These are my 2 largest mixing bowls that I own. I have a pretty large aluminum one and this big glass Pyrex one. And this recipe just will not fit. So I'm doing my best to kind of do the wet and dry ingredients in between the 2 bowls. Once I get them in the aluminum pans here, I will mix it up pretty well and make sure there's an equal parts dry and wet ingredients. But definitely going to need to buy some larger mixing bowls before I do another big mama cooking freezer day like this again. All right, friends, we are here. We have made it, the final recipe of this breakfast freezer day. This is protein cups where you get to watch me crack about 8 bazillion eggs. Yeah, there's a lot in this recipe, but it's a good one. So if you're not familiar with this is just muffin tins that are lined with deli ham, and then you fill it with eggs and cheese and bake it in the oven. So this was nice to do on this day because I'd already had my muffin pans out and was using them anyways. Of course, I was out of avocado oil spray, so I had to go through and kind of use some olive oil with a paper towel to grease these pans, but it worked out great. They did not stick at all. So here I am just lining each cup with ham. It took about 2 pieces of ham per cup to get a really nice seal. It's probably the recipe my husband is going to be the most excited about just for his breakfasts. Next, I'm going to use just a 1/4 or maybe it was a 1/3 measuring cup to fill each one of the muffin cups. And then I'm going to top them with cheese and pop them in the oven. You can see here that I have some sweet potato fries in the oven because yes, I am double dipping. We are having these egg cups as well as sweet potato fries this evening for dinner. All right, so let's head back over to the whiteboard. We finished up the baked oatmeal. That was 4 trays. The egg protein cups are done. That was about 3 dozen of those little cups. And then definitely 6 dozen or more muffins. Now, a quick note, I will probably serve those muffins alongside of those egg protein cups, so those meals would be combined. When I'm looking at this board, this is going to add up to a lot of breakfasts for my family, a good 32 breakfasts total that I can use over the next 3 months. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this one. I had a lot of fun cooking the last couple of days. Be sure to remember to comment and subscribe to the channel and stick around. I have so much more big family homeschool content coming your way in the months to come. See you guys later.